The mystery of 3. Jesus told the Jews to destroy the temple, and he will rise it again in 3 days. John 2 verse 19. Jesus told the Pharisees that he will drive out demons and heal the people, and on the 3rd day he will reach his goal. Luke 13 verse 32. The word of the Lord came to Israel through prophet Hosea to restore them on the 3rd day. Hosea 6 verse 2. The Lord promised to heal Hezekiah through prophet Isaiah on the 3rd day. 2 Kings 20 verse 5. The Lord told Moses that, "Whoever touches the dead body of anyone will be unclean, and must purify himself with water on the 3rd day." Numbers 19:11-12. On the 3rd day, the Lord told Moses to go and get Israelites ready, for he will come down and appear before them. Exodus 19 verses 10-11. When the Lord appeared before Abraham, he looked up and saw 3 men standing. Genesis 18 verses 1-2. Israelites reached the desert of Sinai on the 3rd day after they left Egypt. Exodus 19 verse 1. God showed Abraham where to sacrifice his son Isaac on the 3rd after he was told to offer him. Genesis 22 verse 4. Esther ordered Jews who were in Susa to fast for 3 days. Esther 4 verses 5-6. Joseph put his brothers in custody for 3 days. Genesis 42 verses 18-20. King David and his men reached Ziklag on the 3rd day. 1 Samuel 30 verse 1. On the 3rd day Laban was told that Jacob had fled. Genesis 31 verse 22. Peter denied Jesus 3 times. Luke 22 verses 54-62. Jesus asked Peter for 3 times, "Do you truly love me?" John 21 verses 15-17. Peter had a vision and saw a large sheet being led down from heaven to earth for 3 times. Acts 10 verses 9-16. Prophet Elijah stretched himself out on a widow's son for 3 times. 1 Kings 17 verse 21. Balaam beat his donkey for 3 times when an angel of the Lord appeared before him on his way. Numbers 22:31-35. Prophet Elijah ordered that water should be poured out on his offering for 3 times. 1 Kings 18 verse 38. There are 3 things that are never satisfied: the grave, the land never satisfied with water, and fire which never says enough. Proverbs 30 verses 15-16. A cord of 3 strands is not easily broken. Ecclesiastes 4 verse 12. Saul was blind for 3 days before conversion to Paul. Acts 9 verse 9. Jesus was found in the temple by his parents after 3 days of looking for him. Luke 2 verse 46. Jesus fed the crowd that had been with him for 3 days without eating. Matthew 15 verse 32. Jonah was inside the fish belly for 3 days and 3 nights. Jonah 1 verse 17. God told Israelites to celebrate a festival to him 3 times a year. Exodus 23 verse 14. God told Moses to stretch out his hand, and there was total darkness in Egypt for 3 days. Exodus 10 verse 22. Pharaoh's chief cupbearer had a dream of 3 branches. To represent within 3 days Pharaoh will lift him up and restore his position. Genesis 40 verse 12. Pharaoh's chief baker also had a dream of 3 baskets of bread on his head. To represent within 3 days Pharaoh will hang him on a tree. Genesis 40 verse 12. For 3 years there was no war between Aram and Israel. 1 Kings 22 verse 1. Jehoshaphat the king of Judah sent his official to teach in the towns in his 3rd year. 2 Chronicles 7 verses 6-7. Paul stayed in Damascus for 3 years and later went to Jerusalem to stay with Peter. Galatians 1 verse 18. Jesus said a parable that, for 3 years he had been coming to look for fruit on a fig tree and found nothing. Daniel was trained in a king's palace for 3 years. Daniel 1 verse 5. Prophet Isaiah walked stripped and barefoot for 3 years. Isaiah 20 verse 3. The Lord spoke through prophet Isaiah that within 3 years of Moab's splendor, all her people will be despised and her survivors will be very few. Isaiah 16 verse 14. During the reign of King David, there was famine for 3 years. 2 Samuel 21 verse 1. Absalom stayed in Geshur for 3 years. 2 Samuel 13 verse 38. God promised Moses and Israelites a blessing that the land will yield enough for 3 years. Leviticus 25 verse 21. God told Moses that any land they enter and plant any kind of fruit tree, For 3 years they should consider it forbidden. Leviticus 19 verse 23. God told Moses and the assembly of Israel that their offering sacrifice which was left over until the 3rd day must be burned up. Leviticus 19 verses 6 to 7. For 3 days, Paul and his men stayed in Syracuse. Acts 28 verse 12 to. Publius, the chief official of an island, welcomed and entertained Paul and his men for 3 days. Acts 28 verse 7. Paul stayed in Greece for 3 months. Acts 20 verse 3. Paul entered the synagogue and spoke boldly for 3 months. Acts 19 verse 8. Mary, the mother of Jesus, stayed with Elizabeth for 3 months before she returned home. Luke 1 verse 56. God withheld rain from Israel when their harvest was still 3 months. Amos 4 verse 7. In the 3rd month of prophet Ezekiel, the Lord gave him message to King Pharaoh of Egypt. Ezekiel 31 verses 1 to 2. After the birth of Moses, he was hidden due 3 months. Exodus 2 verse 3. Rahab told the 2 spies that Joshua sent to hide on the hill due 3 days. Joshua 2 verse 16. Rehoboam the son of Solomon asked the assembly of Israel to go away for 3 days when they confronted him to lighten the harsh labor his father had put upon them. 1 Kings 12 verse 5. For 3 days Philippines could not answer Samson riddle. Judges 14 verse 14. Joshua led Israelites through River Jordan 3 days after the death of Moses. Joshua 1 verse 11. Moses led Israelites from the Red Sea into the desert for 3 days without water. Exodus 15 verse 22. Paul pleaded with the Lord 3 times to take away the torment of Satan upon him. 2 Corinthians 12 verses 7 to 8. Satan tempted Jesus 3 times. Matthew 4 verses 1 to 11. God told Moses 3 times a year, "Your men must appear before the Lord your God." Deuteronomy 16 verse 16. 3 times a day Daniel got down on his knees and pray. Daniel 6 verse 10. King David bowed down before Jonathan 3 times. 1 Samuel 20 verse 41. According to Revelation, the New Jerusalem coming down out of heaven from God has 3 gates on the east, 3 gates on the north, 3 gates on south, and 3 gates on the west. Revelation 21 verse 13. Lastly, military used the rule of 3 to teach survival. 3 minutes without air. 3 days without water. 3 weeks without food. And 3 months without hope.